The basics of the digital economy. Now that you understand how the digital business works, let's get to the basics of the digital economy. In this section, we cover important things like 1. Digital products as a subset of electronics. 2. Levels of applying technology to business. 3. The technical inputs necessary for the different stages of online business. First, let us start with the nature of the digital economy. Electronic devices became common after the 1950s. Prior to that, the closest consumer products we had to electronic devices were the telephone and radio. After the 1950s, in an environment of world peace and security, technology was deployed for civilian use, and this culminated in the development of many different electronic products like the television and many others. The earliest electronic devices were analog, meaning they were designed to provide specific outputs. For instance, a television could only tune in to the broadcast of certain channels. A calculator could only give outputs it was programmed to give. In the late 1970s, digital technology showed up with the ability to 1. Take inputs, 2. Compute them, 3. Provide outputs, and 4. Store data. These digital products were more advanced than analog products because they could now take inputs from the user and process it to provide outputs that could be stored. Thus, the nature of analog electronic products was one way. Analog electronic products allowed the producer to program the product and deploy it to meet specific functions. However, the digital products had the ability to take inputs from users, process them into outputs, and store data. This became the basis of the first personal computers that were produced in the 1970s by the likes of Steve Jobs. The idea was to create devices that had these 4 functionalities and did better than the analog product: input, processing, output, and storage abilities. After the first personal computers were produced, 2 important things came up between 1980 and the year 2000. 1. Networking, and 2. Programming. The essence of networking was to link several computers to coordinate affairs and enhance the interaction between the users of these networked computers. Programming involved the creation of software packages, or what we call today applications, and these packages helped users to meet certain goals and targets easily. The earliest software standardized conventional electronic activities and normal everyday tasks in a way that made it easier and improved productivity significantly. Thus, Microsoft created the Microsoft Word software to replace the traditional typewriter, and Adobe created Premiere Pro to become a video editing package that was digital and more efficient. Networking culminated in many different local networks that were used by businesses. However, the biggest network that was created was the World Wide Web, or Internet, which was based on the idea of networking the entire world so anyone could log on and access every site that is linked to the World Wide Web, or Internet. Many leading entities like IBM identify the potential of using software and networking to improve business operations and functionality. This led to the creation of packages that were used to boost traditional businesses like banking, finance, and administration. However, as the digital technology expanded in the 1990s, the possibility of using it as a tool to enhance business and/or create new businesses was exploited at a very fast rate. Many companies like Amazon showed up to make use of e-commerce in order to replace the marketplace. Then, in the early 2000s, digital technology, which is a combination of networking and programming tools, expanded significantly since it provided better outcomes and exponentially higher results than traditional technologies. Thus, large digital companies like Facebook, Amazon, and Google expanded significantly in the second half of the decade, especially after the global financial crises of 2007 and 2008. By 2010, almost every company was powered by some technology or the other, and the 2 basic elements of digital technology were put to absolute use. 1. Networking to improve communication and data management, and 2. programming to create applications and systems that could perform complex functionalities. Therefore, if you plan to set up a business today, even a traditional one, you will need to rely on digital technology for networking and some programming functionality. Otherwise, you cannot compete or grow your business.